Welcome back, everybody, to another Big Bad Review with Cam of the Big Bad Beetle Bros podcast and Stronger Than Before, a Zeo Rewatch podcast. Today, I'm going to be reviewing potentially my favorite action figure that I've acquired in the last few years. Honestly, probably my favorite one that's currently in my collection, partially because it's one of my favorite characters, and partially because it's just genuinely a great mold, and honestly, yeah, I can't wait to talk about this thing. So today we're talking about Finster from Mighty Morphin. This is the Power Rangers Lightning Collection version of the character. It is basically the first version of the character to be released since Funko did some mini versions of the character. You can actually see I've got one floating back here on my 3D printer. It's my little maker buddy. But other than that, we just got the original 1993 version of the... I'll reach out and grab them off my shelf. 1993 version of the character here. I'll do a little bit of a look at him later. But unlike the other reviews that I've been doing, I've actually had this guy out of the box, put him back in because I wanted to do a genuine unboxing of this guy and just show you how he's laid out and how the box looks and stuff. Because it's really a beautiful display in the box, shows all the accessories, way better than some of the other characters in my opinion. And I love the box art for this guy, so let's get right into it. The box art here, again, this little vector image, this one's actually a wraparound of the character because he does have kind of a larger profile than some of the Ranger designs and stuff. I love Finster. He is my favorite villain / monster from any of the Power Rangers series or seasons, and yeah, I can't get enough of this guy. I'm working on a Finster cosplay right now to get ready for Power Morphicon next year, and this is the best like one-to-one comparison to have if you are making a Finster cosplay. You got to get this figure just as a reference point. It's so great. Yeah, a really nice image there. This is actually the promo image they used on the pre-order and everything for Hasbro Pulse. I did pre-order this figure. It's the only Lightning Collection figure. It's actually the only Lightning Collection figure besides the Astro Megazord that I went out of my way to purchase myself instead of rather being gifted or awarded from a contest. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and crack this box open. Same basic box as Zeo Red and all the other characters. And pop that back there. And we're just going to look at this guy in the package. Beautiful, beautiful accessories. It comes with his suitcase for the putties. It comes with two separate clay putty figures here. One with a wrecking ball fist, one with a spike hand, a little putty knife here for carving. There's another gray putty here permanently in the suitcase that also has a wrecking ball hand. And then he has two different hand accessories, kind of a waving hand and another holy hand on his for his right hand. Comes with his iconic magnifying glass here. It is removable, but it fits over the neck, so you do have to pop the head off to take it off and on. That's fine. A larger kind of a putty knife spatula thing here that he can hold, but also fits into his apron, and then a rolling pin that again fits into the apron, but he can also hold. So let's go ahead and get this guy out of the packaging and do a proper review. Alright, so this is Finster, or as the box calls him, Mighty Morphin Finster. I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe they have some issues with the copyright or trademark on the name Finster right now. No clue. But anyways, this is Finster from the Lightning Collection. And yeah, I love this figure, guys. Like, I'm not even gonna hide it. I gushed over this guy when he finally came in. I've ordered the Super 7 version of the character that's gonna come out. I think it's actually supposed to ship this month in April of 2023. I might be wrong. It may have gotten delayed again. I haven't checked Big Bad Toy Store in a while, but I love this character. I try to get every version of the character that comes out in toy form that I can. Of course, there's not a ton. We didn't get like a proper Funko Pop figure or anything. We just got the little Dorbs mini version that's on my 3D printer, and then the original 90s version of the character. And that's really kind of it. There's like a little tiny mini figure that came out in the original 90s line. It's about the size of a Micro Machines car. And that's kind of it. They're not really a bunch. There was a Thomas the Tank Engine reskin version along with Rita and Zed and some Putty Patrollers and stuff. But let's go ahead and take a look at just this gorgeous, gorgeous sculpt. The paint on this figure honestly might be the best out of any Lightning Collection figure that I think has come out, at least that I've seen. Definitely of the ones that I've seen in person, and certainly of the ones that I've seen reviews of or photos of. I am far and beyond from being a professional photographer or anything like that, so I don't take great toy photos, sadly. But I love the sculpting on this guy. The apron is gorgeous. It is 2 sections, so he does have a swivel waist here, and the apron is separate from the lower apron is separate and loose, fitted in between the torso and leg portion. The creases and sculpting on the sleeves is really, really cool. He does have non-exposed, there's no exposed pins on the joints, just the little joint there in the elbow. So we'll start with the head. The sculpt is just gorgeous. The glasses are not removable, but then again, we never see him without it. He has his earrings, his really, really great detail here that I think gets missed in a lot of stuff, where he's got these kind of tree growths, because he's kind of a forest spirit type thing in the Zoo Ranger, where he's called Pleprecon, and he's kind of a leprechaun forest spirit type character that's a little gnomish maker. So his head can swivel all the way 360. It is on a ball joint, just like all of the other Lightning Collection figures. Not a pretty good, lot of emotive range, I would say, in the way that he can kind of tilt his head or look down. Can't look up very far because of the way that his back of his head / like hair is sculpted. He does have a fully opening mouth, which is really cool. He's got sculpted teeth and painted teeth in there. He's got, on the upper jaw and the lower. Really cool. The beard and mustache and everything is sculpted really nicely. His eyes even have a little bit of blue-green iris paint in there. Oh, it's so good. It's so good, guys. The sculpting on the head and hair is gorgeous. Mine does have a little bit of a QC issue where the seam between the front part of the head and the headband is split a little bit. It can kind of get squeezed in, and I could probably, if I really wanted to, I could probably try to heat it up and fit it back together, and I just don't, you can't tell, right, when it's on a shelf or anything. You can see a little bit of a seam there, but I'm not worried about it. But, these all have a little bit of QC issues, and that's the one here. So he's got these tools they're not removable, but his apron pocket half open, just like always in the show. You can see all of the different sculpting tools there. Stand out really nice against the black background there. The little buttons and silver pauldrons with a little bit of battle damage and just scrapes and scratches all the way around. The knot tied here on the back of the apron. Really beautiful sculpting. The pant legs are gorgeous. Again, with the legs, no visible pins there. You get to the hands, both on these versions. These are his kind of base accessory holding hands, and then he has 2 extras that are really just additional holding hands in slightly different gestures, because that's all he really does. He doesn't have any action poses hands. But they do have the nice little tree leaf branch nubbins on there that on his right hands that add just a lot to the character, I think. Really nice colored kind of gradient and almost a textured fabric here on the black part of the sleeve, and then the little gold fringe there on the end of the sleeve just looks gorgeous. As we get down to the actual nitty-gritty of the apron here at the bottom, these tools are molded in but are fully painted, and painted enough that the scissors here actually have the brown on the handles and then the silver on the blade underneath the teal, blue, green strap here. And there's even little like chips and scratches in the scissors. This kind of a compass type thing up here at the top, and this square here at the bottom. Just really cool. I love that they took the time to paint the silver on the tool, and then also keep the blue teal of the strap that goes over and holds it in. That's just an eye for detail that I've noticed is not included on every figure. The shoes are really nice. It's a little hard to tell, but they do have the shoestrings there tied in, and just really, really nice, kind of this almost elven boot coming up. Just really, really good sculpting on here. Again, I'm going to gush over this figure just like I did the Astro Megazord because, goddamn guys, I love this one. Alright, so accessories-wise, let's look at those separately for a second real quick. So, the suitcase, briefcase thing. It's silver, but it isn't a wood grain here, and I need to go back and watch some of the earlier episodes. It's a little hard to track down specific episodes where Finster is a focus or anything like that you can see and have good footage of it, because I got to kind of just troll through the YouTube channel for Power Rangers and see. But there is a molded in wood grain on the suitcase on both the sides and the front and the top, of course, too. You can see a little lock here, little latches. The handle has a nice molding. There's a little bit of gummed up stuff, but it's not too bad. Detail rivets in here. This is all one solid chunk of plastic. It's one single mold, and the hinge is just a thin sliver of plastic here at the bottom. So when you open it up, you can see that that's just there. That is a weak point. That is a risk, I would say, that if you kind of open and close this for a lot, it may at some point weaken and break. Don't quote me on that. I don't know, but there is a chance. Again, we've got one Putty Patroller clay figurine in there permanently, and then the other ones are separate and honestly not horrible detail on these guys. Hard to get a good focus on them, but I really dig them. They've got sculpted in faces, kind of sculpted toes, even though Putty Patrollers don't really have toes, I don't think. I think they always just have boots, but really neat. And then they fit right in to here. They don't really click in or anything, but they fit snugly enough that they'll set in there. And then you can close the briefcase up, and they fit right in there. They don't wobble around or anything. You can't hear them wiggle or anything inside. And this will not open up on its own, which is really nice. And all that is a divot in here, or a recess in there, and a little pin here that it's just pressure fit, and it's perfect. It's honestly way better than I anticipated. And he can hold this. It is a little annoying to get him to hold the handle on the briefcase, but he can do it. The handle on the briefcase is a little flimsy. It's a thin, it's a kind of a thin rubber almost, rather than like some of the weapons that the Cogs or that Zeo Red have. But you can get it to fit in there, and he can hold it and carry it around just like that. I tend not to display him with the briefcase just because I think it looks kind of good sitting on the side with it open maybe and the putties standing out, but that is what it is. Someone on Etsy is making and selling 3D models and 3D printed versions of the Monstermatic, the machine that he would put his sculpted monsters and putties in that would then go through and spit out the full version of the monster. So at some point I will either get one myself or get the model at least and 3D print it. He does come with this little sculpting knife, little putty knife, that again just fits right into his hand. I tend to have him holding this. It is the only one of his accessories that he can't hold on his person. So there's no spot on the apron to hold that. I do wish there was an extra little divot in here maybe that this could like slide into, since it's the same style of accessory, of tool, as the rest in that pocket. But sadly, doesn't work that way, but that's okay. Now the magnifying glass, really nice detail on the little red beaded necklace of it, the chain, and the glass, I'm not gonna lie, the plastic actually is a little bit, because of its bevel, actually looks like a magnifying glass. Obviously it doesn't work, and it's not, it doesn't scale right, but it does give that little warped magnifying glass look that I think just like is a little bit, they went above and beyond on that, and it's beveled out, it's rounded, which is, I don't know, that's just so wild to me. It looks so great. And to put this on the guy, same as swapping out any of the other heads, satisfying little plop, and it just lays over his neck. He can hold it, but I tend to just have it around his neck, since that's mostly how he was in the show. Always had it around his neck. Pop. And then that just sits right there. Looks really nice. It does stand a little awkward, but that's okay. I think it looks solid. And then the last two accessories are this kind of spatula putty knife thing here that's got a wonky little spaghetti spin in it. Looks really fun. Very unique, very alien. And then this kind of almost wood-grained silver rolling pin. So the way that these fit in is the rolling pin goes in on this side, and the upper strap is larger, so it just slides right in, and then it fits in the bottom there. Very secure, not going anywhere. And then similar on this one, where the upper pin is a little bit bigger, and so it just fits right in there and slides right down. It's very, very handy. I really dig it, and you can see how he holds stuff there on the package. But I like to have those in the apron, because then you can hold this in the briefcase, or a putty patroller. I do need to get a putty patroller figure. I wish that there's not a great way to get a regular putty patroller, because I think the only one that they sell a single packed version of is the Z putties, and I don't really want a Z putty. I want an original putty, because that is what goes with this version of the original Mighty Morphin, the first couple seasons. So popping the hands out, just like all the other figures, same exact little peg joint, and then he's got this little kind of resting, waving hand. It's just an open hand, can't hold anything, just goes right in there, no problem at all. And then the alternate hand for the right hand is really just another spin on the holding hand, but it looks a little bit more almost painterly, so he can kind of hold one of the tools a little more delicately looking maybe. I don't tend to swap out that hand, because there's not a huge point to it in my opinion. I think they look from a foot away, they look really, really the same, and that's okay. But guys, I really enjoy this figure. Posability wise, beyond the head, you've got a shoulder that will go up to a 90, and then he does have that inner shoulder, but it's not quite like the Ranger figures and the Cogs. It is really just like kind of an inner ball socket almost, that just lets it kind of bend around a little bit. I actually like that. It lets him have a more natural resting position, and then you get a little bit more than a 90 on the elbow, and then that can, at the elbow, swivel 90. The hand obviously will swivel 90, and then it can also go up and down just a little bit. And then his waist can swivel 90. I wouldn't do that too much, because you're going to get some paint rub from the apron around the sides of the jacket here. You can see a little bit here. I can't tell quite if that's paint rub or just a mist paint app, or a gummed up paint app rather. But that's basically the posability. And then he does actually have some pretty good leg posability, though it is hard to tell because of the apron, and the apron is pretty limiting. So his legs will go out. He actually has more of a split than Zeo Ranger Red or the Cogs. You just can't use it because of the apron. Knees back to a straight 90. 360 swivel at the hip. And then they would go up all the way to a 90, but the skirt limits it. And then full 360, although I won't do it because of the tightness of the joint, full 360 at the ankle. And then the feet do have a little bit of a side-to-side swivel, not a bunch, or kind of not a swivel, a tilt. And then they go back a little bit, and they go forward only barely. Granted, you're really not going to be looking for action poses with this guy. At least I'm not. So it's totally fine, in my opinion, that he doesn't get really an action pose of any kind. He can bend up and down a little bit at the torso. Kind of like have him lean over his work a little bit, or kind of lean up and like he's my Empress. And that's really it for the posability on the guy. But again, there's not a lot more that I would expect from a Finster figure, because this is really what he is. He was standing kind of almost a semi-background character, especially after the first season. Once Zed comes in, he's really a background character, and then you just don't see him a lot. I would love to see a Finster 5 from the Lord Draken comics, the Lord Draken section of the Boom Studios comics. I know that Finster meets his sad demise in the what's it called? Legend of the Dragon, or whatever the whatever the Old Man Tommy comic that Boom put out. That's I think supposed to be in the same continuity as the show rather than the comics. It's not involving like Draken and all that stuff from the current Boom Comics run, and it's more so about Tommy from the show coming in, because I know it features a lot of Tommy and Kat and their son, and obviously the Master Morpher and stuff like that. It's all featured in the show rather than the comics right now. So I'd love to see Finster 5. I would love to see Finster featured in the upcoming 30th anniversary. I really doubt that it will happen, especially because it doesn't look like it's leaning towards that kind of story, especially with Robo Rita and the two other monsters, Snizzard and the bull monster, the Minotaur guy, that are both robotic versions, and that's not really Finster's domain. That's more of a Machine Empire, even Lord Zed kind of thing. But yeah, guys, I love this figure. I love the character. I love the figure. I'm not going to stop, ranting and raving about this, just like the Astro Megaship review was. So I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter, but I will showcase real quick the original 90s version of the toy, just a little bit, because we've come a long way, folks. This figure has basically just a little bit of shoulder movement. The head is fully sculpted onto the body. He's got this weird, I don't know if there's supposed to be teeth. Looks like he's wearing a bite guard. He has a monocle over the glasses. He's got the pauldrons are kind of weird and coming down off his shoulders. The apron's pretty nice. Honestly, the apron on the toy is definitely the new apron on the toy is definitely inspired more by the apron on this toy than it is by the apron on the show. You can see a lot in the molding, the way that the magnifying glass sits on it, and exactly where the tools are is 1-to-1 on the toy. So the all of these tools are just 1-to-1 translations onto the toy. The boots, you can see the same. He has that kind of prototypical swivel leg joint instead of having any kind of a bend. It kind of moves like that, which is useless because you can't move the feet to pose it or anything. You gotta get him in a funky walking stance, I guess. That would be it. And then he does have a hip joint of some kind, but it does not on mine move, and I don't want to force it. So I literally have this guy to sit on my shelf and be kind of a maker motivator in a way, just because I love Finster, and yeah. I love this character. I love this figure. I can't wait for the Super 7 one. I know it's a little bit scaled up. It has a couple different accessories, and it looks like it's just got a little bit of a different look to it that I'm really excited to see. And I will do a review when I get back, or when I get that figure. I will do a review highlighting the now 3 generations of full Finster action figures. But until then, I've been Cam of the Big Bad Beetle Bros and Stronger Than Before. If you want to find me, you can check out my stuff on projectlouder.net. Search up Big Bad Beetle Bros or Stronger Than Before, a Power Rangers Zeo podcast. You can find Big Bad Beetle Bros at Beetle Bros Pod on Twitter, or Big Bad Beetle Bros on Facebook and Instagram. You can find Stronger Than Before at Stronger Than Before podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, you can find all of these glorious reviews that I've been trying to work on lately here on YouTube under Big Bad Beetle Bros. And of course, our 3-year backlog of reviews and episode breakdowns, interviews with Gabe Torres and Rick Schick from the Behind the Camera, and all sorts of fun stuff on the YouTube channel and of course on the podcast. So if there's any other reviews like this, if there's Finster figures or things like that you guys know about that I didn't mention, I'd love to hear about them. I may snag them. Finster's one of the few things that I will kind of like track down on eBay and stuff if I see a fun figure of, or even like if there's like some fun fan art on Etsy or something you guys come across, let me know. I'd love to have a fun like Finster art piece somewhere in on my collection wall. I'd love that, honestly. So thank you guys so much for checking out the video, for checking out the previous videos. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the little bell notification button on the video at the bottom corner to let you know anytime we post a new video. And I will see you guys next time.